Hi, friends, and welcome to this lesson. I hope you enjoyed the last lesson. Now, in today's lesson, we are going to learn how to build a strong vocabulary. My dear friends, I once said, words create worlds. Create a beautiful world with your words. So, each word that you speak, each word that I speak, it can create or destroy a world. So, my dear friend, be very careful about the words you use because words can hurt, words can heal, words can create, words can destroy. They can destroy feelings, they can destroy psyches, they can destroy relationships, they can destroy businesses, they can destroy kingdoms. So, friends, let's learn today about the beautiful vocabulary of English language and how you can build a strong vocabulary. So, friends, we are going to learn to build a strong vocabulary using four principles and two elements. So, as we go along, I would be explaining things to you and let's see. Now, the English language, it has so much variety that it gives us a lot of precision. If you want to say something, then there are so many words available to you that you can use a word to exactly describe what you want to say. So we'll be seeing that in the next example. Now, if you look at this word that I'm talking about here, I'm talking about something called happiness, which is something that each one of us seeks in life. All of us want to be happy, and happiness can be of many kinds. You must have seen sometimes a person cries when the person is very happy, and they say these are tears of happiness. So we've seen that, and we've also seen people jump with joy, people go mad with happiness. So, how many types of happiness can be there, and in how many ways can we describe happiness? So, that is my question. So, if we look at the various words that we have in the English language to describe happiness, well, cheerful or cheerfulness, gratified, someone who's satisfied, cheerful, someone who's full of happiness, who's full of cheer, buoyant, someone who's floating, buoyant, very happy, light, feeling light and happy, exuberant, oh my god, mad with happiness, ecstatic, yes, elated. So these are all heightened levels of happiness. Rapturous, so someone is clapping, in raptures, is so taken up by the moment. Rapturous. So when you are applauding, when you're very happy with something, euphoria is another very high level of happiness. Jubilant. So the team was jubilant after the win. And beatific. This kind of happiness is almost called saintly happiness. Beatific smile. So the saint had a beatific smile. So that's how the saint would seem. So there are different kinds of happiness, different words to express happiness. So when you want to choose a word, you should think about the kind of happiness you want to describe. A lot of times we just say, I am so glad. Now that is also a kind of happiness. You're glad. I'm so happy. I'm so glad. You also say, I'm so pleased. We say so when we meet someone, pleased to meet you, glad to meet you, so happy to meet you. Isn't it? There's another word that we use. What is that word? I'm delighted to meet you. Pleasure is mine. So now start being aware of the various words and its synonyms and how you could use different synonyms of a particular word in order to describe what you want to describe. Let's go ahead now. So, let's talk about the four principles that you should keep in mind if you want to improve your vocabulary. Now, the first principle of vocabulary improvement is active understanding. My dear friends, if you are watching this lesson and while watching this lesson, you are not actively trying to understand what I'm saying, you're just, yes, you're hearing what I'm saying, looking at the screen sometimes, busy with something else. So, if that is happening, you are already disturbed. You are not actively engaged in what is going on. So, to start understanding language and to start using language, you need to actively engage in understanding that language. Let's see how that could be done. So, my dear friends, when you want to develop your understanding of words and ways to learn them, as I said, you have to become active, you have to become engaged. How do you do that? Now, semantics is the branch of English that deals with word meanings. All right. So, now if you can make a graphic representation of a relationship between words. So, if there are different words, then we try to create a small relationship between them to see how they are related. So, let's see how we see that. Now, friends, supposing I'm talking about the effects of environmental pollution. So, let me do a semantic mapping of all the effects and in effects, all the problems, all the bad effects of environmental pollution because environmental pollution cannot give you good effects. So the harmful effects are there for us to see, and let me just list them out. So, one effect of environmental pollution could be deforestation. So, deforestation could lead to a lot of pollution happening, climate change, global warming. These are all effects of pollution, erosion of soil, air pollution, of course, effect of pollution, water pollution. So as all this will happen, deforestation will take place, climate will change, global warming will take place. It's also global warming, huh? And then once that starts happening, then you will have species becoming extinct. So the first thing that happens is you have many varieties of plants, birds, insects, animals. They start disappearing from this earth. Extinction takes place. So when that happens, that is the signal that humanity will also be extinct. So desertification of the earth may happen. And what will happen eventually? humanity will cease to exist. Now, I'm not saying this is happening in the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years. It may take hundreds of years to happen, but it is already happening. And these are the effects of environmental pollution. These are the effects of our actions. So, this what we've done is we've done a semantic mapping. Words that mean or convey the effects of environmental pollution have been mentioned here. So, this map of mine is going to help me write about environmental pollution. Now, if I look at each one of these words and I start describing what it means, then I will have the whole picture clear in no time. So, this is one of the first principles where of active understanding, where semantic mapping is what you do in order to understand more about a particular topic. Now, active understanding, semantic mapping, we just did. Now, let's see definition. So, if we have grammar, meaning, and sample sentences, so that we can map definitions, because while we explain things to people, we have a lot to define, we have a lot to convey by way of definition also. So, if you can map definitions of things, then you'll probably be able to convey what you want to convey in a better way. Grouping of words. Now, supposing I have something describing, say, brilliance. So, if I'm describing brilliance, then let me group words that describe brilliance together. Let's see an example of this. Supposing we want to describe words that describe large scale, large scale. So, what are the words that I can use? I can use the word massive. I can use the word huge. I can use the word immense. I can use the word extensive, something that goes on extending. I can use the word enormous. I can use the word vast. And there would be more words of this kind. So use word grouping in order to group words with almost the same meaning. You may have them as, you may also call them synonyms. There is a dictionary which is known as a thesaurus. So if you look for a thesaurus, the thesaurus lists synonyms. So if you go to a thesaurus, you're going to get synonyms. Now, supposing I want to talk about a very big whale. Whale is a big mammal actually, but people call it a fish. Whale, the biggest mammal is whale. And if I want to talk about a huge elephant, then I won't say there's an extensive elephant. No, I may use the word enormous, massive. If I want to use for a playground, if I want to use a word for a giant, for a very big playground, then I'll say there was a vast playground, vast playground, extensive, yes, immense gratitude. What does this mean? Immense gratitude? Oh, too much gratitude, too much thanks, too many thanks. I'm so thankful, immensely thankful. So, this is the way in which we use words. There was a massive gathering. So, mass, massive. All right, mass means a lot of people. Massive, huge mountain, very big mountain. All right, this is how we group words. So, from today, start grouping words. Now, this will enrich your vocabulary. The moment you start looking for alternative words to express the same thing, this exercise is going to enrich your vocabulary. Now, let's start with principle number two. Principle number two. Now, if I want to learn good vocabulary, if I want to build a good vocabulary, if I want to learn good words, then I should also try to personalize, because then that becomes my personal vocabulary. Personal vocabulary is something that I will try to use. So let me look for key concepts and words required to understand these concepts. Supposing I want to explain something to somebody. Supposing I want to explain to someone blockchain technology. Supposing I want to talk about blockchain. So, friends, if you go to Google or YouTube, then you would be able to find out about this technology, blockchain. So, blockchain is very, very useful. It's not just for cryptocurrency, it can be used for many other things as well. So if you want to explain blockchain, then think about, you go through whatever you can, if you can find a video or you can read up something on blockchain. Once you do that, after doing that, think about blockchain. What did I understand? Identify key concepts. You can do so by writing them down in a pad or a diary. Then try to find words to explain them. Try to explain them in your own words. So, this is how you are going to enrich your vocabulary, because you're going to go through this process. Let's go ahead and see how you can understand. So, you need to identify important terms in that. If it's a technical concept that you are trying to explain, then there'll be technical words or technical terms. If it's a medical concept, there are going to be medical terms. If it's a scientific concept, scientific terms. Financial concept, financial terms. IT related concept, IT related terms. Agriculture related, then agriculture related terms. So learn those terms. Identify similarities between them and differences among different concepts that you are going to talk about or study in that sense. So we are constantly trying to find out, we are also constantly trying to compare and contrast, see differences, see similarities, so that our understanding becomes more and more strong and complete. Now, let's go to the third principle of learning vocabulary. So far, two principles. One, active understanding. Two, personalize the vocabulary, including the terms, the concepts, everything. Try to personalize. Now, third principle. Third principle, immerse yourself in words. Drown yourself in words. Immerse yourself. So, put yourself in a word and language rich environment. Friends, I am going to try and do that over the next 50 days with you. But if you form a habit, that's going to help you a lot. All right. Become aware of words and how they are used in the input you receive. What are the inputs that we receive? The inputs we receive are through listening. So listen, other is read. So my dear friends, if you really want to improve your vocabulary, your English, your spoken English, written English, everything, personality, listen and read. Because this is the way you're going to get inputs. If you want to have a good output in terms of, so these are input and output, let me write. So, so my dear friends, these are inputs and these are the outputs. So when you have inputs, listening, reading, then you will have very good output speaking, writing. All right. Opportunities. So you have to find opportunities for speaking, writing, and using new and interesting words. Find opportunities. If there's nobody else to talk to, start writing to to yourself. Start speaking to yourself, but use the words in a sentence, in writing, in speech. Now, three principles we've learned so far. One, active understanding. So you have to be engaged in active understanding. Second principle was personalize your learning. So understand for yourself and internalize the words, the terms, the concepts. Third, immerse yourself in a word rich and language rich environment. And you can do so through listening, you can do so through reading. Fourth thing is very easy. Use multiple sources for doing whatever I've told you in the first three. So let's see. For repeated exposure, use multiple sources. One, TV news programs related to your topics of interest. Next, newspaper, magazine, journal, blog, discussion. Now, this is the strongest way to develop your understanding. So, if you're a student, use your classmates, otherwise, your friends, your family. You can use your colleagues also and discuss. Can't find anybody? Discuss with yourself by writing and then speak. You can just speak into the audio recorder, create a podcast, publish it. You can put on the camera, selfie camera, and record what you are saying, put it forth. There are many ways of doing it now, many ways of producing an output. Now, so these are the four principles that we have talked about to improve your vocabulary. What are these principles? You should be active in developing your understanding of words. You should personalize your word learning. You should be immersed in words and you should use multiple sources. Now I'll talk about two elements. Two elements, my dear friends, are nothing but quality of words and quantity. So let's look at this. Quality. So, number one, what does the word sound like? How is the word pronounced? This is very important because while writing it may not be important, while speaking it will become very, very important. How is it written? What is its spelling too? So the moment you write, the spelling also becomes equally important. What meaning does it have, and what are the different ways in which it is used? So consider something, and considerably are two different things: individual and individualism. Please consider my application. There's a considerably large crowd. He's an individual. He believes in individualism. Different things will have different meanings. So please find out what these things actually mean. What are the meanings? What are the implications? How are they used in different ways? Another example, same thing can refer to two different things in two different ways and mean fertile soil and fertile mind. So, soil, what happens? Veggies, flowers, crops will grow. And fertile mind, what will grow? Ideas, thoughts, lot of things. So you use the word fertile. Then that same way you can use fertile imagination. So the poet had a fertile imagination. He could connect so many things so beautifully through his words. So the poet had fertile imagination. So this is the way you use. Then, as we did there with vast and immense and all that, same way, fundamentally, basically. So these are word associations. They mean almost the same thing, basically, fundamentally. Collocations. So, what kind of words appear in association with that word, like complex problem, complex issue, complex person, complex idea? So the word complex, and then also if you look at the prefix, then you'll say shopping complex. Hmm? So lots of words. You also have vitamin B complex. So complex. What's a complex? And then you also say sometimes the person has a complex. So complex is an amalgamation of a lot of things. You understand? So now look for collocations, look for associations, look for similarities, look for differences, look for these things, be aware of these things, take in these things. Now, the next thing is, first we must know about the quality of word, then we must work on the quantity. So I want to increase the number of words I know. How many words do I know? So I want to increase the number. So if you know the most frequent 1000 words in English, then you'll be able to understand 72% of the words on the page of a book, a newspaper, or a magazine. So just knowing the frequent 1000 words will help you to do that. That's not a very difficult task. If you know 2000 words, then 80% you'll be able to understand. Now, as you grow in the number of words you know, the understanding percentage is difficult to increase. So if you know 3000 words, then only 4% increase, 84%. If you know 4000 words, then only 86%. If you know 95, if you know 12,500 words, then 95%, and 44,000 words, then 99%. So, my dear friends, your first target should be to know the 1000 most frequent words in English. Then we'll go to the next target. But at least look at these. This is all doable. You can do it. How can you do it? Follow the four principles, follow the two elements. So, active understanding, personalizing your vocabulary, immersing yourself in words, and fourth one. What was the fourth one? Can you remember the fourth principle? I told you about four principles. Here you are, my dear friends. Please don't forget them. All right? So, you must use multiple resources for doing what I told you to do. All right. So once you are active, once you are personalizing your vocabulary, once you've started immersing yourself in words, use multiple resources so that your immersion is complete, personalization is complete, and try to learn at least 1000 to 2000 most frequently used words. So with this, we come to the end of this lesson. My dear friends, I hope you have enjoyed this lesson. I have enjoyed it very much. Thank you very much for watching this lesson. I am going to see you in the next. Until then, all the best.